Well, good morning and welcome to Corona Fits. Beautiful day here in Blackstone, the center of the world, but then you too are at the center of your world. Today's talk is on Good Friday Corona. Good Friday Corona. And this afternoon, I'm going to plant 15 giant dahlias in our backyard. And get my wife and daughter. We're just going to make a little ritual, Easter ritual out of that, planting. And a wise gardener told me that if you plant on Good Friday, they'll come up and bloom on Easter. So this is Good Friday Corona. And what is Good Friday? It's paradoxical. It's irony, Good Friday, but that was the day Jesus died. That was, in other words, he hung on the cross. What's good in that? You see, so Good Friday is kind of ironic, which is nice, you see, because Good Friday is the planting. Now, the Easter is based on the planting rituals of the Near East, which was on the the planting rituals were about death and resurrection, because farmers plant by spring and the winter. Planting societies versus hunting societies, which preceded planting societies. Primitive man was the hunter, but then when man became growing grain and domesticating animals in the Near East, they became planting societies. And planting societies have a different mythology than hunting societies. And planting societies are based on death and resurrection and sacrifice. Sacrifice makes the spring come. You're getting in alignment, you see, ritually with the seasons upon which your life depends. The farmer depends on spring coming after winter, and the planting, and the moon, you see. And a lot of farmers, planting is based on the moon. So this whole mythology is dying and resurrection, moon. The moon dies, it wanes, it goes into a 3-day night in the tomb, and then it comes up resurrected and it becomes full, and then it dies. So you get this, and of course, when you live outside the city limits, particularly in desert countries, or out west, the moon is huge. It's a big influence, and the tide, and the rhythm of life. You see, this whole rhythm and is based on dying and resurrection, and it's real, and it's one. So Easter is kind of like brings this religion, Christianity together, and also the ancient mythologies of the Mother Earth and her son, the moon, dying and resurrected. The son dies and is resurrected around the mother, you see. But then there's the Son, the eternal light, who doesn't die, who is not resurrected because it doesn't die. Transcends death, you see. So the sun is also part of this mythology, the sun god. So you have this dying and resurrected son, and then you have the liberation of the Father, the sun god, who doesn't die because the Son is eternal. And basically, we all know that the light of the moon is reflected sunlight. It's like stored sunlight, it's reflected sunlight. So like dahlias, like plants, we turn towards the sun. We turn towards you can watch in slow motion, you can watch, sunflowers, plants, they will turn towards the sun as it moves, you see. They're always focused on the sun. So this whole Easter thing is the idea in ancient mythology, of being trapped in the death and resurrection of the seasons. We're in that. We can't escape it. We are Earth. We are Earth, basically. Like, an apple tree Apples in the earth, peoples. Alan Watts used to say that, So the earth people. We're peopling. We're like plants. We're the fruit of the earth, you see. And the earth is with the cycles of the mother and the moon, you see. But all the while there is this light, this pull, this attraction, this yearning for the sun, for God, for the eternal, for that which is beyond life and death, for that which is the source of the moon's light. So you see, so Jesus kind of like combines all of this. You see, he is the dying and resurrected moon of the mother of the son of the mother of the Virgin Mary, the mother goddess, you see. He is the son of that. Yet at the same time, he is the Son. He is the Father. I and the Father are one. So he brings this mythology of the sun god and the moon god together, you see, in one ritual. And we call it Easter. But we really need to, for me, I see these Christian rituals and traditions and all that metaphorically, so I can apply them to myself. So it's like medicine. You get a bottle of medicine and it has a label on it and tells you what it does, side effects and everything, and you can believe in that medicine. Yeah, this is good stuff, but I'm not taking it. I just believe in it. But it won't do any good. So you go back to the doctor. Oh, doctor, I still got the... Did you take them? No, I didn't take it. I read the label. I read it. I've studied it on the internet. I really looked it up. I really studied it. I believe it's really good. Did you take it? No, I didn't take it. See? So how do you take Easter? How do you eat Easter? So we do this with communion. We eat it, you see, but that's a ritual. That's, if I used to go to the Presbyterian church here, and they have a big communion table there. It was covered up. They didn't have it very often, but they're a big thing. In remembrance of me. So communion was in memory of doing something. It wasn't actually doing it. It was remembering it, you see. This misses the mark. This puts Easter and the resurrection in Jesus back in history, so we remember it. We act it out. We reenact. It's like Civil War reenactment. So you're reenacting the Civil War. So Easter then becomes reenacting, remembering Easter, but you don't do it, you see. You don't take the medicine. You just reenact it. You just believe in it. Oh, I believe, you see. That doesn't heal you. You're not taking the medicine. So what's the medicine, you see? Well, first of all, you have to detach it from history. As long as you think the medicine is something in the past, that Jesus did it, I can't do it, you see. I just remember, oh, Jesus did it for me. I don't have to do it. Jesus did it for me. I'm healed. But then you still suffer. You still got the mental virus of fear and despair and, oh my God, and this shouldn't be happening, and why me, and all my story of suffering and everything, and then you believe in Jesus, but you still suffer. So nothing's really happened. You really haven't taken the medicine. That's why I got into Buddhism, yoga, and then Buddhism, because it's a practice. You take the medicine. You do the medicine. It's like a recipe. You get a recipe for a great menu, and you read the recipe, and you study it on the internet, and you can even get a college degree, but you never cook it. You see, you never really do the recipe. And when you do the recipe, you see, the problem is that if you do the recipe in reference to history, well, then you just act like Jesus. You put on, get beads, wear sandals, grow long hair, and go around acting like Jesus. You're reenacting Jesus. That's not doing the recipe. Because you're using the ingredients from the Bible. You're using the ingredients from history. You're using leftovers. You're using something from the past. If you're going to do the recipe of Easter, you have to use the ingredients of your life. You have to use the ingredients of what's given in your household, like MacGyver. You have to use what's given. And using what's given, you create the communion. You create the Easter, you see. So Easter is a calendar ritual, but that's just a ritual. The living Easter is every day. You have to do Easter every day, you see. You have to die and be reborn every day, every moment. You have to practice letting go. You have to practice hanging on the cross. How do you hang on the cross? Well, Jesus showed the way ritually, but you have to do it. So Jesus goes joyfully to the cross, you see. Jesus participates joyfully in the suffering of the cross. The cross is suffering. It's two beams, right? Horizontal and timeless, right? There's suffering there. There's suffering between the moon and the sun. I'm in the moon. I'm dying. I don't know. Why? I'm in this. Everything is dying. I'm waning. But now it's great. Now it's dying. But now it's resurrected. Now it's waxing. Now it's waning. Now it's like a roller coaster. One minute you're going up. The next minute you're going down. Cycles. Groundhog Day. Can't get off of this merry-go-round. There's the sun. Where is it? Well, the sun's behind you. And it casts a shadow on the world, and you see your shadow and you run from it. But the sun's behind you. It's like a hospital gown. You turn around, you can't see. All you see is your shadow. You feel the heat, the warmth. You feel the breath of God behind you, the light. You feel the sun. You see, I believe something. I feel it. I feel the grace. But I turn around, and all I see is my shadow. All I see is the moon. All I see is dying and rebirth and up and down the roller coaster of emotions and all of that. All I see is that, you see. And I turn around. Where's that light, you see? Well, it's not. You can feel it, but it's kind of like a hospital gown. You feel the breath, the breeze, but when you turn, it's not there. You see. So you can't, when there's an eclipse, they say, don't look at the sun. Because that's a metaphor. You can't look at God. If you look at God directly, you'll burn up. Mystical experiences is all full of that. People experience the light. There's nothing in the light. It's like I had an experience like that. It's meditating. Suddenly, right in front of me, my thinking personality was there, like a worm on a hook. And it was thinking, and it was out there in front of me, and this awareness was watching myself. And then this light opened, and it was like a fisherman pulled myself up into the light. And I went up into this light, and then I came back down, and I was all burnt like a moth. And I said, that's what death is. That's what death is like. Okay. So the light is there, the sun is there, but we have to live in the moonlight. We have to live in the earth. We're part of the earth. We can't escape it. Spring, winter. But we go to it joyously. We go to the suffering. We go to Corona joyously. As if we chose it. Eckhart Tolle's always talking about that. You choose the cross. You choose the disaster. You choose. That's Zorba the Greek. You choose the collapse. You choose the disruption. You choose the tragedy, because there's no other choice. It's here. You have to accept what's given. So if you're going to make your meal, you have to accept the ingredients that are given. There are a lot of, chef programs like that where they take these chefs and they got a refrigerator full of food and say, all right, make a meal out of that. So they got to make a meal out of what's left over, what's left lying around in the kitchen, you see. So that's our life, stuff lying around. You got this job, you got this relationship, you got this pet, you got this disease, all these things. That's your what's given in your kitchen. You got to make a meal out of that, you see. You got to make something whole out of the fragments. Oh, that's the communion. The bread is broken. You got to eat it and make something whole out of it. You got to do it, though, with the ingredients in your life, with Corona. You got to make something whole out of the fragmentation of Corona. Corona comes and breaks our society up in little bits. And everybody's going, oh my God, you see. No. Well, practice Easter. Eat it. You eat the bits and you make something whole. You make a new you. You make a new life. You make a new beginning. It's potential. You plant some dahlias. You plant. When the spade turns the earth over, when Corona turns your earth over, that's when you plant. That's when you plant. That's Good Friday, when you plant. Oh, it's good that the earth is turned over. Now I can plant. Now I can begin again. Now I can see the world fresh again. Fresh, like Easter. Thanks for dropping in. Corona fits.